Hello all, in today's video we are going to deal with Aristotle's Poetics. Aristotle has delivered a lecture on literature in general and tragedy in particular in a book called Poetics. Whenever the reader reads Poetics, there emerges two important questions about the psychology of theatre. Why one should visit theatre? By visiting theatre, will you feel the reality or the essence of the situation? For this, Aristotle says that you need to experience the emotions of pity and fear. It will flow away from us just like the waste products of the body after purgation. For this, he uses a Greek term called catharsis, which is otherwise called as purgation, which talks about the overflowing of emotions of pity and fear. Because whenever you read tragedy will definitely have a sad ending, but there will always be a lesson that is imparted to the audience. Tragedy is considered to be a psychological medicine filled with free of inhibitions. For example, there is a tragedy which is written in Greek style which is called as Samson Agonistes. There you can come across the quote which actually suits the Greek term catharsis, with peace and consolation and calm of mind, all passion spent. The chief character of tragedy should be a bad man or a good man. Aristotle says yes for a good man because the audience will get upset, shocked, depressed, considering there is no justice in the world. Even God is unable to solve the problems faced by the tragic hero. So Aristotle says that the tragic hero should be good but not too good. He has the following characteristics, like the tragic hero will be very admirable, very lovely, but all the sufferings and death lies in his own hands. So the other characters of a tragic hero are he is kind, thoughtful, gentle, cultivated, but there is always a weakness and indecision that follows the tragic hero. The Greek term for the tragic flaw is hamartia. For this, you can even consider the example Hamlet. The tragic flaw of Hamlet is postponing things, which you can also find in another play called Othello. Othello's tragic flaw is suspicion. The chief characters of tragedy are always kings and queens. So Doris Lessing raises a question, why not ordinary people? Because in order to impart morality into the lives of the people and how God will become the leveler, tragedy is written using great subjects like kings and queens. For example, we have one another play which is called as Julius Caesar. In modern dramas, the hero and subject are not great kings or queens, they are common people. Even in romantic age, the subject of the romantic period poetry will be about the rural people and rustic dialect. So in the later part of the modern drama, common people, they become the protagonist of the story. You can find those common people in the stories or the plays written by Ibsen, Shaw and Miller. They talk about society. They talk about socializing and remodeling the society in terms of morality. Sophocles has written a play called Antigone. It actually stresses the importance of moral conflict. It talks about the burial of her own brother. Hegel's views about Antigone states that he considers Antigone as the perfect example of tragedy. There is always a conflict that emerges in tragedy, and it is between good and evil, the right and the wrong. So William Shakespeare is considered to be an important figure in world history who has written many plays which are even relevant to today's time. His drama belonged to Elizabethan period, so they have their own form and structure. And they even belong to the age of Queen Elizabeth I, which is considered to be the golden age of English literature. He has four perspectives in his plays. He understands human psychology. There is always a concept of love and compassion. There is a rich quality you can find in the language of Shakespeare, and he has used controlled vocabulary in the plays he has written, and he has invented new words like assassination. There is always luck and chance which comes in rescue of the tragic hero, which is especially needed for any success. Renaissance means rebirth. So all the dramas which come in the Old English period as well as in the Middle English period started to taste the new change in English literature, which is actually a cultural movement which is called as Renaissance. So at that point of time, the golden age of English literature is otherwise called as a nest of singing birds. The audience were very intelligent, poetry becomes the popular genre, so writers started to use a fantastical language. They called theatre as playhouse, animal and beast with reference to Shakespeare. So Elizabethan English has undergone various constant changes in its diction and vocabulary. Shakespeare has used it intelligently in all of his plays. Historians thought Shakespeare is inferior to Ben Jonson, but in Shakespeare's time, he is considered to be the successful dramatist who was born for that period. He has written 36 plays, but the first ever tragedy written in English literature is Gorboduc, which was written in 1551 by Thomas Sackville and Thomas Norton, who followed the tradition of Seneca, a Roman tragedian. They are all university wits, and many revenge tragedies have been written by Seneca. One important tragedy to be looked at is the Spanish tragedy written by Thomas Crick. With this, Aristotle talks about the Greek terms in general and what is the definition of the tragic hero and how a tragic hero should be. What are the other areas which are predominant in Elizabethan age, and who are the other writers who have also followed Senecan style as well as Shakespearean style and their own style. What are the languages followed during Elizabethan age? Is there any transformation from Renaissance to Reformation? Thank you.